Grand Bay-Westfield for Monday, May 27, 2024 to order at 7:01 p.m. We respectfully acknowledge that Grand Bay-Westfield exists on the traditional Woolastoqua land. The lands of Wabanaki people are recognized in a series of peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between equal nations. The river that runs by our town is known as Woolastoq, along which live Woolastoqua, the people of the beautiful and bountiful river. We, the staff and elected representatives, pay respect to the elders, past and present, and descendants of this land. Record of attendance. Let the record reflect that we have a full roster of attendants here this evening. Item 5, agenda approval. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield approve the agenda of May 27th, 2024 as presented. Motion by Councillor Bailmans. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councillor Belton, thank you very much. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item 6, disclosure of conflict of interest. Is there any? There being none. Item 7, public hearings, presentations, delegations, petitions. 7A, we have Acting Sergeant Julie Rogers-Marsh here with us this evening to present the RCMP Quarter 1 report. Welcome.
Hi everybody.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see everybody. It's a full house tonight. Exciting. Did everybody get a chance to look at the quarterly report?
Yes, we all had it in our council packages.
Perfect. Any questions?
I'll open the floor up to, you always know I have questions.
We'll save you for last.
Anybody have any questions on the Quarter 1 report? Okay, well then I'll jump right in. I noticed that in the police occurrences overview, Julie, we had, it says between 2022, 23 and 23-24, the number of occurrences was much higher for the 23-24 year so far. And can you sort of explain why that is? Is it due to more actual crime, or is it due to difference in the way the area is being controlled?
I'm not sure really how to answer it. It could be a little bit of both. It could just be we're getting more calls for service because maybe it's a little bit more busy. It could be that we're doing a lot more traffic enforcement, and that could kind of tally into the speeding violations and some of the other moving traffic violations. It could be that as well. I tend to not be too concerned because I don't necessarily feel like this is a trend that we're seeing more. It's just a kind of a snapshot, right, in time of sort of where we are. But I mean, it's definitely, significantly, and I would say significantly, but it's definitely higher than where we were this time last year.
Okay, thank you. And I noticed that some of that was the operation of a motor vehicle while impaired. That was up, and I have noticed that there have been some checkpoints recently, and I truly appreciate those, and I know the community notices that presence as well. So I don't know if the increase in that is due to the checkpoints, but
It could be too. My team is doing a very good job as far as being proactive, patrolling in all the areas as much as we can. We're doing step files, which would be, if a member is doing, they're checking speeding in the school zones, if they're on the highway, that they create like a step file, and it just sort of captures how many vehicles they may have checked. And then of course we do check stops when we can, and that's important because visibility, people see that we're in the area. We can check a bunch of different things, sobriety, driver's license, insurance, all of those things, making sure that the vehicles that are on the road are fit for the road. So we're doing quite a bit of that. And now the weather's obviously nicer, so we'll be able to do it, I think, a bit more.
That's great. So can you tell me a bit about, Councillor, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, sorry. Can you tell me a bit about what the status is of the staffing levels here right now? And do we have the new position filled yet?
We do.
Okay.
And it is a sergeant from Nunavut. So he's going to be coming in, I think, the first week of September. So yeah, we just found that out a couple of weeks ago. So we have 7 constables, one is light duties, and one is a new member that graduated from Depot in April. So he is partnered up with Constable Kenya Bajinja, so they're together, they have to follow the field coaching program for 6 months, and then he'll be sort of on the schedule once he's cleared that, but things are going really well. I was gonna bring him tonight, but unfortunately he's under the weather, so definitely bring him in another time so that you guys will have an opportunity to meet him. And then there's the 1 corporal position, and then the sergeant position will be staffed.
Okay. So
Officially
we're
it's-
fully staffed now.
Technically, we will be in September.
Okay, when
When it comes.
our new member comes, okay, that's good.
So the new growth position was staffed, so we technically have 7 constables, but out of those 7, 1 is on field coaching. That was the position that Chantal McIntosh had, so he's filling in for her, and then we have 1 member that's light duties.
Okay.
So, yes.
Thank you very much. So what is the status of the criminal record check now? I hear that it's now moved to a different day, is that the case? And what are the hours?
Yes, so that was all updated on the website, there was a few kinks, we thought we had it fixed and then it wasn't, anyway, there was a bit of issues there with the website, but we're all up to date now. Thursdays from 8:30 to 3 is when we have somebody that's there that can do those criminal record checks, and not Wednesdays, so Thursdays from 8:30 to 3, and normally they take their lunch between 12 and 1, around there.
Because that was a bit of a gap we discussed before, because between 12 and 1 is when people have their lunch and that's when they go to, so that hasn't been resolved yet, that gap?
Well, the employee is allowed to take their lunch. I mean, we could maybe move it a little bit later, so it's 12:30 to 1:30, but really it's being a bit flexible as far as when they're able to go. Like, it's not really written in stone. I know, like, one of the girls that fills in, she'll go grab something and then she comes back and she'll just leave the door open through her lunch, which she's doesn't really have to do, but
Yeah.
she does that from time to time. Yeah, so I don't really know how we can resolve that one, unless she went earlier.
Yeah, and so I'm always trying to think, that's when the bulk of people that would be going to get the criminal record
Yes.
checks would be going on their lunch, so it makes sense to me, in order to serve that client in that, with that level of service, we should try and figure out a way to manage that. Deputy Mayor? Councilor Hess,
Can the criminal record checks be done online yet?
So, yes, they can, that's through a third party, it is up online now, but it's only for criminal record checks. So if you need a vulnerable sector, you can't get that through there, it has to be done through either us or depending on where you live. If you live in St. John's area, you have to go to St. John, but
Okay.
if it's just a criminal record check and there's no vulnerable sector needed, then yes, people can do that online.
thank you.
That was my question.
Oh, that was your question?
And I know the commissioners are also open in town and they do them, but I think there's a fee.
What is it?
The commissioners,
Oh, those of them for our region?
yes,
Oh.
anybody can go and get them done, but
They have
there's
to pay.
a cost to it.
You have to pay it.
And did you?
Well, I thought maybe you mentioned about people on the lunch hour, but people getting record checks are going for jobs and they want jobs, so they're really not working yet, so I get any time of the day would be perfect for.
Well, a lot of them
Volunteers.
have to do it for volunteer
Oh,
positions
yeah,
as well,
that's-
yeah, so there's
for
that too.
jobs too.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, they can always drop their forms off, or they can come and pick them up anytime and fill them out and drop them off, and they can have them ready for them. Like, if it's somebody that really needs it, like right away, we always try to do our best to accommodate that.
That's great, thank you. How's the community officer making out, and what have their recent initiatives been in the area?
Yes, Megan's doing a great job. Most of her time is spent really on the alternative measures diversion program, like she's quite busy with that, and it would be for our community as well. She did come with me last week, we did a lockdown at Bay-Westfield, she did come and do that and participate with that. But I'm planning, hopefully she'll be able to come to all of the upcoming school events that we have planned, all the parades and all the fun days, so I'm hoping she'll be able to come to some of those. She really likes doing that stuff.
Oh, that's great, well, thank you for that. We have any other questions for the acting sergeant? Councillor Berkey.
I do, it's not regarding the report, it's the, in regards to the motorized scooters. Are there different rules around the motorized scooters than a typical, bike, you know, a child on a bike?
Yes, cause it's considered to be a vans, right? So they have to follow the rules of the road. They're also not allowed on the highway because they can only go so fast, but they have to wear their helmet, they have to follow the rules of the road. I wouldn't necessarily worry about the speeding, cause I feel like it doesn't go very fast, but yes, they would have to follow.
So is there, so the reason I'm asking is because on the way here tonight, which was about maybe 5:15, a wee little person was coming out of Westfield School and their scooter just went into a wobble and I was only going 40, but even at that, because it was, I mean, I know that the time limit was there, but I could see her coming down and I thought, my gosh, I have no chance if she falls off of that scooter because it was motorized. So, and she was small, like.
So it's age, and they also have to take a course and pass.
I mean, let's talk about the stand-up ones though.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the
I
stand-up
thought you
scooters.
meant, sorry, I thought you meant like an actual like.
No, I think she means
No,
the stand-up
stand-
scooters.
Oh, no, sorry, we're talking about two different things.
No rules for those and no helmets?
Helmets, yes, they'd have to wear their helmet, but there wouldn't be.
She had a helmet on, but I mean,
It would be similar
She fell off.
to a bike.
So what do you do when you have a kid on the little mopeds with no helmet on? What do you do, pull them over or you give a
We-
talking to?
We can do all of those things.
Cause I see a lot of kids with no helmets on, especially on the little stand-up ones, they hit a little pothole, cause tire ones are small, they
So
can
it's-
on the road, no problem at all.
Yeah, so the motorized scooters or the scooters would be, to me, similar to bicycles, so they'd have to follow the same rules. They have to wear a helmet, they can get tickets, they can get fines. I mean, let's be honest, the parents would be the ones that would be getting the fines, but.
There's a lot of them around doing it with no helmets on, I saw my kids aren't helmets, cause they fall off, hit their head and
Bikes too.
bikes too.
Bikes too.
Thank you. Councillor Day?
Is there a way that the RCMP media, I'm gonna call it media person or your communications person,
Yeah.
could work with ours, because bike season is starting. And those scooters, and I can really relate to how you feel seeing a little one on a scooter and you, but do some communication for safety.
So, having been the communication person for a long time, we have all kinds of things that we can share with Brock, and do, like, if you guys wanted to do a campaign and share it, I can check to see. They usually have calendars with all kinds of things that they're posting, all around like safety. They do it before school starts, they do it for summer, they do it for boating, all those things. So let me check and
Yeah.
see
Please.
what they have, and I will share that with you, Brock.
Perfect.
John, do you have anything to?
I got one more question.
Yes.
Four-wheelers, what the age group on a four-wheeler gonna be? How old you have to be on a four-wheeler, like driving on the streets? We're gonna start driving on our streets, like what the age group should it be?
So couple of things, it depends on the size of the bike, will dictate what the age is, but there is a minimum age. I'd have to look at the off-road and see, because I don't know it off the top of my head.
So how do they get insurance? Like kids only 10 years old driving an
Well, the-
ATV on the road.
Yeah, the parents would have the bike, they'd have to have the bikes insured. I mean, it's no different than,
So how do you explain it, then you get pulled them over and 10 years old driving their parents' bike and you got, how you give a ticket and because they're rather short or not age
Right.
to drive a bike.
so anytime that we issue a ticket or a warning, we have to issue a form to the parents saying that we issued them. So the parents are involved from the get-go. We would never issue something to somebody who is under the age of 18. We have forms that we have to serve on parents.
Okay.
It's like a parent notice that their kid got whatever they got for a ticket or a warning. But let me check on that. I'm not quite sure what the age is, but I know, again, there's safety courses that are required, and depending on the size of the bike.
But I'm concerned with insurance, because imagine the kid hit another pedestrian or hits a car or something, if they're under a certain age, under 16, like we drive, like 16.
Right.
How is their insurance covering the car, the parents for, I don't know, how the parents get away with letting their kids drive a bike under that age? And under their insurance, I mean, some are down to 7, 8 years old driving on the roads now, so, and they're doing wheelies on them, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't understand how can they be on the road at a certain age, and they said you give a car to them, and under parents' insurance, but let them drive a car to them, because that's the way it sounds like.
Yeah, I know they would have to have insurance for the bikes,
Yeah.
for the ATVs.
Do you have any other questions for the sergeant? Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
And we appreciate your service and the work you do on behalf of Town of Bay-Westfield for the community as a whole.
Thank you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm sticking around. Don't worry. Bye guys. Have a good night.
The motion is that the council of the town of Bay-Westfield receive and file the information as presented. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Do I have a second? Councillor Berkey, thank you. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item 8, minutes of previous meeting. 8A, regular council minutes of May 13th, 2024. The motion is that the council of the town of Bay-Westfield adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of May 13th, 2024 as presented. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Is that a second by Councillor Berkey? Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thanks. Item 9, unfinished business. There being none, we'll move on to 10 bylaws, and there are no bylaws, so we will move on to 11 new business recommendations. 11A, Prosser Court Street closing. And John, can you speak to the item, please?
This is an initiative that started last October, November. I think Councillor Bailman's brought it to council, and it's finally being closed. That's what this is about, so it's being finished.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll read the motion, then if there are any questions. The motion is that the council of the town of Bay-Westfield approve the transfer of the closed street portion of Prosser Street to Mr. and Mrs. Cosman with assent of the amending subdivision plan, Mary Knoll Heights subdivision, Prosser Court, dated May 21st, 2024. Do we have a motion? Councillor Bellmans? Do we have a second? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence? Any questions or comments on the motion?
I think it's great that somebody from the community come up and want to get land that we don't use and then everybody built a garage on it and more tax dollars for our town, so I think it's a good thing to come forward and ask. Because a lot of towns in Bay-Westfield, we have those small portions by the property, maybe somebody else in town will want something like that, so.
And thank you, councillor, for bringing that forward.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item 11B, GMB, proposed regulations for council code of conduct. And John, can you speak to that motion, please?
Certainly, Your Worship. The proposed changes in the Regional Services Delivery Act are, I think, significantly problematic for council. Really what's being asked here is that no longer does the mayor or the elected representative sit on the board of directors of the Regional Service Commission act at the direction of council, but for the commission. And the question that I had and asked is, what problem are they trying to solve here? And I'm not entirely sure that this is the right tool to be able to solve the problem, which they think is, how do we act in the best interest of the commission? I think the best interest of a region is served by ensuring that there is the political will of the majority of the people, and we have a formula here that agrees that this is the best interest. There should be an opportunity that if there's disagreement, that disagreement be vented because it reflects the interest of that particular community. So this is a loss of independence for council, not just the mayor, but council, because at the end of the day, the Local Governance Act says the mayor acts at the direction of council. That is being removed. When I did a survey of legislation across Canada, I did not have time to read 13 different pieces of legislation. We are the only province that I scanned that will be introducing this. And I have to ask why. When I talked to my colleague in Ontario, well, no, it's not a problem because it's a vote. In Alberta, they repealed the regional acts. So in Saskatchewan, they don't have that. In Nova Scotia, it's not the same. They don't have this language included. So really, to solve the problem of the best interest of the region, it really has to go back to each of the municipalities acting collectively. And sometimes you're gonna have dissent. And I think it's important that dissent be able to be expressed in a healthy manner.
Thank you, John, and I'll speak to this as well. You hear a lot about Ontario and its strong mayor powers and the conflict and concern that causes. To me, this is almost exactly the same kind of thing. Council could direct me to vote a certain way on a certain issue around the commission table, and I could go to that commission table with this legislation and vote however I wanted, and I don't think that's right. It's a removal of authority of council, and it's also, it creates an unsupportable conflict to the person sitting around the commission table. So I'm very concerned about this, and that's why we have it on the agenda, we have the motions that we have before us tonight. Does anybody have any questions for John on the regulations or the legislation? We have two motions, one that I believe the recommendation is to defeat and the other is the opposite. The first motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield approve the Government of New Brunswick proposed changes to the Local Governance Act. Do I have a motion? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. Do I have a second? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is defeated. Thank you, Council. And the second motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield work with the Union of Municipalities of New Brunswick to signify its concern to the Minister of Local Government with the proposed changes to the Regional Service Delivery Act that removes the municipal designated director on the Regional Service Commission Board from acting at the direction of council and fulfilling the director's corresponding fiduciary responsibilities to the community. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. To have a second? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence, thank you. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none? Oh, did you have one? I'm
Just
sorry.
real quick, I just wondered if UMB has spoken about this at all, if there's been any discussion.
I can answer this. They're in the middle of putting feedback together right now with a lot of the same concerns that we've expressed here this evening. John?
It's been a source of conversation for this CAOs, and just so council knows next steps, I'll be submitting this report to ELG because they're soliciting feedback. I thought one of the discussions that we had at CAO is that really quite often they asked, GMB asked for feedback from us, and I spent time providing feedback. I'll read the legislation and the regulations, and part of our discussion was, well, sometimes we wonder why do we do this, provide feedback. However, I thought this time, this is not something that you should just let go. I thought that if council voted on it and I sent that into ELG, it would weigh more than just John providing his feedback. So I'll be providing this to ELG. I'm gonna, with council's, if the council doesn't disagree, I'm gonna omit the second resolution from the report. And then I've got a couple of colleagues who've asked if I could share it with them, and I was gonna do that after it goes to council. Council should see this first time it goes. So those are the next steps, and there's been some dialogue.
Any further questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, council. We'll move on to 11C, reserve transfer F-150 Lightning. And John, can you speak to the motion, please?
I'd like to start with the good news. We bought the F-150. Council allocated us $100,000. We spent less than $70,000 with taxes. The truck goes right now in the current weather. It lasts all week on a single charge. And that includes the weather control elements in the vehicle. Plus, we have a lot of battery operated equipment that's used for parks and recreation. And that is charged on an ongoing basis. So instead of losing that equipment partway through the day, we have that all day. And then the truck is plugged in Friday at the end of the shift. And then Chris gets an alert on his app saying about Sunday afternoon it's fully charged again for the week. So we feel very fortunate. We got significantly below what we anticipated paying. And it's actually working a little bit better than we anticipated.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
And all I was gonna say, part of the resolution was that we were gonna pay for this out of reserves. We're just asking to transfer the money out of reserves into operations. Sorry.
No, thank you. Any questions?
I just put the truck, is it a four-wheel drive truck also, or four-wheel drive? Just do
No,
it.
it's not.
So, I think after you bought the truck, right, so why, four-wheel drive, we got the snow fleet, why did we go to a truck that we put a plow on? This is common sense, right, we need more machinery for the town to plow roads and maintenance, why do we electric car?
So we need an assortment of vehicles for different purposes. And sometimes it puts too much on the strain. I don't know if you wanna add to that.
Yeah, that's what you can't have just one type of vehicle, again, in summertime, the electric working out great. At this point in time, I'm not believing we wanna go electric in the winter, cause you have to operate along through the storm, could be 3-day storm, you know, that time to charge. And again, we only received a half ton, which isn't a large enough vehicle to put a plow on. So again, we don't need a larger vehicle to go down regular. So again, because we're just doing light duty, we need a light duty truck, and not a super duty for.
It's the right tool for the right job, yes.
That's what, okay.
Thank you, Councillor Kingston. Any other questions? Then the motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield approve the transfer of $65,783.03 from the General Capital Reserve Fund to the General Operating Fund. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Balcone, and that was a second by Councillor Murphy. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. Item D, FCM resolutions. So the FCM annual general meeting is coming up. There are a number of resolutions that will be coming to the AGM for vote by the members. I know that you've got them all in front of you, so then just like UMNB, the resolutions process gives members the opportunity to directly influence the direction of FCM's advocacy work for municipalities across the nation. And so these would be issues that could potentially affect all municipalities as opposed to niche issues. So that's what these are. With the permission of council, unless there's a resolution that somebody would like to pull out specifically, I would suggest that we look at them omnibus. Is that acceptable to the group? Yes? I will read the motion and then open for questions. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield approve the FCM resolutions as presented. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Burpee, and that was a second by Deputy Mayor Toole. Any questions or comments on any of the resolutions? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, council. Item 11E, Canada Day Run. I'll pass that item over to you, John.
I'm gonna hand it over to the Parks and Rec coordinator, your worship.
Rick?
Thank you, John, your worship. The Canada Day Run organizer has asked again this year to sanction 2 runs that will happen on Monday, July 1st, 10 miler and a 5K. It's the standard sort of template request has gone to DTI and been approved. There's no road construction or any other reason that River Valley Drive can't be used for the run. Because we are moving our Canada Day operations this year back to the RBCC just like last year when we went inside and maybe outside, we are going to incorporate the run into our operations to try and rebuild what that event was according to people who were in the town in the past. So we'll work with the organizer on that piece, and the organizer's been in touch with fire, police, and paramedics, and so we just to make sure everyone's aware that this run is starting on the July 1st morning.
Thank you, Rick. Any questions or comments on the item? We have 2 motions for your consideration. The first motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield authorize the use of the following roads for the 5K Canada Day Run, starting from the River Valley Community Centre, going south on River Valley Drive, west on Allen Street, north on Woolstoke Drive, and returning south on River Valley Drive to the River Valley Community Centre, utilizing support volunteers and staff positioned at all intersections to assist in the safe operations of the event for participants, residents, and visitors. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. We have a second. Thank you, Councillor Burpee. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. The second motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield authorize the use of the following roads for the 10-miler Canada Day Run, starting from the River Valley Community Centre, going north on River Valley Drive, continuing north on Nericus Road until 100 meters past Sunnyside Drive, returning south on Nericus Road, continuing south on River Valley Drive to the River Valley Community Centre, utilizing support volunteers and staff positioned at all intersections to assist in the safe operations of the event for participants, residents, and visitors. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Burpee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councillor Balcom, thank you. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. This is a good news item. It's I know some of us around this table have participated in this very event in years past, so it's nice to see it continue on in the future, and hopefully we'll get new runners and new people coming into the town that haven't spent much time here before. 11F, ATV temporary corridor extension. And John, can you speak to the item, please?
I'm gonna turn it over to the Parks and Rec coordinator, Your Worship.
Thanks, John, and Your Worship. In your package, you'll have a request letter from a combination of community groups that are partnering together on a fundraiser and community event. It's a Westfield District and Recreation Association, the Legion, and the ATV Club, the local ATV Club. They're gonna run this fundraiser and community event on July 20th, with various events running between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. And they have specifically requested that the new off-road vehicle corridor that was approved by council be extended up to the Legion at 27 Woolstoke Drive on a temporary basis on that day. The Legion will be running breakfast, then there'll be a silent auction fundraiser running all day, there'll be an ATV run on the trails within the community, and then there'll be some live music and food and beverage at the Legion later on in the day. The ATV users in particular would like to be able to attend all the events and not have to switch vehicles or start creating parking lots in other locations. And so they requested this temporary extension from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. on July 20th from the corner of River Valley Drive and Woolstoke Drive at the Peace Park up to 27 Woolstoke Drive at the Legion.
Thank you, Rick. Do you have any questions for the recreation coordinator? And I will read the motion. The motion is that the Council of the Town of Grand Bay-Westfield authorize the temporary extension of the off-road vehicle access corridor from the corner of River Valley Drive and Woolstoke Drive at the Veterans Peace Park to the Legion at 27 Woolstoke Drive on July 20th, 2024 from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Bellmans. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councillor Malcolm, thank you very much. Any questions or comments on the motion? Councillor?
I just want ATV drivers to obey the speed on the road and be alert. We have kids walking also, just want them to be, slow down,
Thank you,
that's
Councillor.
all.
If there are no further questions or comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you. And I want to thank the organizers and wish them a successful event. Item 11G, community grants. And John?
I just first want to thank Parks and Rec Coordinator for the work that he's done, and the counselor and our volunteer for the effort it took to pull this together, and I'm going to turn it over to the Parks and Rec Coordinator.
Thank you, John, Your Worship. You see in your administrative report that this year we received 13 applications for the spring grant program, and the budget this year for the calendar year is $12,000, meaning we try to go around $6,000 per application, and in this case we are allocating $6,000 exactly. Reviewing the applications, there were 5 applications that upon full review by the committee were deemed ineligible based on the grant criteria. 3 of them due to lack of community impact, as shown in the report, less than 50 people for each of those on community impact, and that's deemed too low. And 2 of the applications were deemed incomplete for various reasons. After looking through that piece, we did something that we haven't done in previous years when we looked at the remaining applications and trying to find a way to fund as many projects as possible. And so we have funded 3 projects at 100%, and the remaining 5 we've taken away between 10 and 20% from those projects in order to provide all the groups more than 80% of their requested funding. We're very confident, based on contact with those groups, that removing between $50 and $150 from various groups won't have any detrimental impact on their ability to run their projects. And so we have the recommended slate to the project.
Thank you, Rick. Do we have any questions for the Recreation Program Coordinator? Or the chair of the
I think you
council?
did a great job, but I couldn't pick that many of the people out of the bunch, so I said, I'm glad you did it for us, so it was a very hard job to do that, something like
Yeah,
that.
you're right, this is not an easy job.
No.
No questions, then I will read the motion. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield award the community grants as follows. $900 to the River Valley Home and School for the ball hockey court project. $500 for the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 22 for the Veterans Banner project. $850 to the St. Augustine's Garden Committee for the Memorial Garden project. $900 to the River Valley Middle School for the soccer field seating project. $300 for the River Valley Coins Association for the Unity Park Coin project. $850 for the Westfield and Inglewood Schools Soapbox Derby project. $850 for the St. Augustine's Garden Group for the Memorial Garden project. $800 to Inglewood School for the outdoor volleyball court project. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Bailmans. Do I have a second? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence, thank you. Any questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's an error
Yeah,
there. There's an error there.
something missing.
The garden project was duplicated. And it should be $850 for the grab banners.
For the, okay, so $850 for grab banners, for grab banners, 2024?
Yep.
Are our movers and seconder okay with that
Yes.
amendment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for
Thank you.
picking that up. Any questions or comments on the motion? Do you need me to read it, the whole thing over again, or did you make more comfortable, or, no good?
Very quick question though, on the grab banners, I was gonna ask the question, but I didn't hear them, so thank you for asking. Do we know when those are going up, or is that, sorry?
I was talking with one of the volunteers, that it should be any day now.
So I was just asking the other day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Usually it's the beginning of June, is my recollection.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were expecting to start that any day. I don't have the exact date, but. So if there are no further questions or comments, all in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thanks again to Rick for taking that on, and thank you very much to the Grant Review Committee and the chair of the Community Vitality Committee, Stephanie McIntosh Lawrence, and thank you to all of the community groups that applied, and to the successful proponents. I can't wait to see your projects come to fruition. So thank you for serving the community in this way. We'll move on to item 12, bills for payment. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield authorize the May 27, 2024 bills for payment as presented in the amount of $156,836.64. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Burpee. Do I have a second? Deputy Mayor Toole, thank you. Any questions or comments on the motion? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence.
I have two. Number 43, I'm just wondering if this includes the repairs for residence properties or just the town property?
43, that was Keel, so that was part, up on Park Avenue with, we had an easement through a residence property, so we repair that. And down on Williston, there was a repair on that one, and then there was another long one in the repair. So it's a combination of both.
That's what I was hoping.
Do you have a follow-up, Councillor?
I do. Number 73 and 74, 1600. It's the maintaining gardens. I'm just wondering if that was something that we talked about before bringing in-house as part of hiring the
Generally,
staff.
so generally speaking, and I'm gonna defer to the Works Commissioner, if it's a type of expertise that's needed to maintain a garden, we're bringing in shades of green, and we have reduced their budget, their amount that we spend there. But, you know, the broad cutting and weed whacking and general aesthetic stuff that, you know, students can do, we've kept it there. But there are some gardens that really should be better looked after by people
So these
who
were like
know.
garden beds or something?
Yeah, these are,
All bed and they're done
Yeah.
monthly,
like such as the bed up front here, I'd rather not have students, because it looks great.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Balcom?
Thank you, Your Worship. Item number 22, the Cox and Palmer for $23,000. Just wondering what the services, I see the funding allocation comes out of the HAF
So
budget, so what were the services for?
So just have to remember that that was just the first one that was captured. So we did a review of the municipal plan, there was a review of the incentive program, but there's also in there a property owner who's litigating the town because that person doesn't agree with the development officer's decision. There's a neighborhood, a neighborhood issue that we had to give counsel. That's a broad range of activities within. There's 3 separate invoices so that we can break them out according to what we need is based on really the work of local governance reform. So no, it's not just one thing. It's a multitude of things over a multitude of issues.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions or comments on the motion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, Council. Item 13, consent agenda. Monthly 13A, monthly report, Fire Rescue Department, March 2024. B, monthly report, Fire Rescue Department, April 2024. C, letter, GNB reply to UMNB REIT property tax insert. D, report, iSpire executive IT report, and consent agenda. The motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield receive and file the consent agenda items for May 27, 2024. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Toole. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Balcom. Any questions or comments on the motion? I'll second, Councillor.
I have a question for the fire chief about the 2,000 smoke detectors that were donated. Is that publicized anywhere so residents can know, like, is that on our webpage, town webpage?
Yes, a social media post was
Okay.
done, for the donation.
Okay.
And the website, I'm not sure, but that will probably come more as we develop programs to do it, should.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
And Councillor?
Do you have your resident of Grand Bay-Westfield to pick it up? Or do you drop them off, or?
So it's not necessarily, I mean, certainly if somebody were to come in saying, I need a smoke alarm for my home, and that type of thing, and depending on the reasoning for that, we would certainly give it out. Primarily it would be anyone who would be a resident of our coverage area, which is slightly different
Yes.
from our department than it is the actual.
And John, did you have
No, I just want to draw council's attention to the IT report. It's taken about 3 years to get one of these. And I would like feedback from council at some point as to what you would like to see. There are some gaps in it, but it's the first report, and I want to treat it as a living document that we can evolve and improve as time goes on, just like we've done with some other reports to council. So please provide feedback. The other thing I want to just point out, this document will not be going online. We don't need hacktivists seeing what type of equipment we use or what we do on a cybersecurity side. So that's just for council's purpose. That won't be published online, your worship.
Thank you, John.
It's also proprietary to
Yes, it was really nice to see that report included. I know it's been a long time coming, so appreciate the work you did to get that on the report.
Kudos to the chief for pushing this rock too.
Thank you. So if there are no further questions or comments, all in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried, thank you. We'll move on to item 14, council reports. We'll start with the deputy mayor today.
Thanks for starting with me because I was away for work, so I missed all the fun. So I just get to hear there was some amazing stuff that happened in the past week and a half, so I'm looking forward to hearing all of it.
Thank you, deputy mayor. Carrie, councilor Burke.
Okay, so busy time. May 16th, I attended the Zone 3 meeting, which was held here, and there was some great presentations. Specifically, I look forward to the information on Fire Smart and specifically how to take precautions and measures to minimize the risk of fire, especially with all the dry weather that we're having. May 22nd, the State of the Region. This was the first State of the Region. It was a really good turnout. It was impressive to see how many people took time out of their day to fill the Trade and Convention Center and listen to all the mayors of our neighboring communities. Then the super exciting announcement at Lone Water Farm. This was very anticipated by the community. There was a really big turnout, which I'm not surprised. It was talk of the area. Everybody was stopping me everywhere, even at the gas station, to ask what I knew about it. And so this was the decision that everybody was hoping for. So I just wanted to thank the mayor for listening to the community and the residents and your determined effort to work with all of the people to make this happen. Lastly, read my notes. The Westfield District and Rec Association had a Kids in the Kitchen at the Nervous Baptist Church, which was a really good turnout. And the mothers also led a cooking class. So it was really a lot of fun, and I love kind of being a part of I wasn't able to attend, but I did reach out to them to see how it goes, and I love to interact with the youth. So that was a really fun event, and that's it for me.
Oh, that's wonderful, thank you. Councillor Day was part of the very first cooking club here with the River Valley Community Center. We know how popular it was
Oh my gosh, yes.
before COVID shut us down, so it's nice to see that that's starting up again. So thank you for that report, Councillor. Councillor Balcom.
Thank you, Your Worship. I also attended on May the 16th the Zone 3 meeting. And, earlier in the day, I attended the Age-Friendly Committee's Aging in Place Senior Care Navigation, also known as the Nursing Home Without Walls Initiative. And that was the second such presentation. It was basically an update to the first one, and it was well attended as well. I also attended the State of the Region luncheon, and it's really great to see the region in front of the business community of the region, all showing that the respective councils and mayors were pulling together and rowing in the same direction. That was great to see. The Lone Water Farm conservation announcement, I think, is something that this council should be extremely proud of for years to come. It was a hard-fought battle to ensure that it was conserved, but we were victorious, all the partners. I think the government's heard that. And I do believe that we can honestly say our town is neighbored by nature with the Blueberry Hill nature preserve at one end of the town and this wonderful 400+ acre conserved reserve at the other end, plus everything good in between. On Thursday, I attended the first market of the year at Greenwich Point, and there were some new vendors. And on Saturday, I attended the variety show fundraiser put on by it was at the St. Matthew's Church, but it was put on by the St. Augustine's Memorial Garden Committee. And the type and amount of local talent from the local region was just amazing. The afternoon was almost 3 hours long, and it was good. So, and it was successful as well. So it was a busy week.
That's
Thank
great. Well, thank you very much, Councillor. It makes me wish I could go myself, because I wanted to go to that as well. I wasn't able to make it. But, Councillor Day.
And I'm gonna continue on with the talent in this community. Councils over the years have supported the St. John Theatre Company, and I got to see Mary Poppins on Sunday. And the talent from this community involved with that was very good. And a former councillor played the role of Bert, Mr. Sutton. And I only wish I could move as gracefully as they moved across that stage, including flying at one point. So I'd like to congratulate the St. John Theatre Company for a production well done. And I've been to the Fire Awards dinner, and I'd like to compliment and congratulate the chief and his team for the service hours and the involvement of community members with our fire department. And it's nice to see the junior fire chief actually becoming a firefighter. And that's awesome to watch, although it makes you realize how old you are. I've been to age-friendly meetings, and I was able to get to the Lions 50th anniversary function down at the River Center.
Thank you,
So.
Councillor. Councillor Billings.
I did a few things. We with John Enwoods and Mrs. Burpee did infrastructure and climate habitation, except for an hour. So we did talk about stuff in town, and we went to our fire, our councillors did, and the state of the region, the chambers, and the zone three fire start thing, and the best highlight of my 2 weeks was my granddaughter turned 4. All in balance. That's good.
Happy birthday to her.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McIntosh Lawrence.
So on May 16th, while everyone else was at the Zone 3 meeting, I was at the annual Red Triangle Awards at the Y. That's always a moving night. There were two recipients this year. So Julie Dingwall was the recipient, and she's done work for the region all over the world. She's really quite amazing. And the person to watch this year was Laura Oland. May 21st, we reviewed the grant applications. So I want to congratulate the 8 recipients, and I look forward to seeing their projects. The 22nd was again the State of the Region that I attended with other councillors. The 23rd, I also attended the first market of the year, so that's always exciting. And the 24th was I also attended the low water announcement.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'll do mine. I'll try and keep it brief because you basically have already heard a lot of the things that I did. One of the things that I did do was I met with the outgoing chair of the Greater St. John Chamber of Commerce, Mohammed Baga, regarding how the Chamber can better serve the businesses of Grand Bay-Westfield and how they can work with our business owners group to move our commercial interests forward. Again, we hosted the UMNB Zone 3 meeting right here in Grand Bay-Westfield, and again, a very informative and valuable presentation by Troy Adams, the Director of the Wildfire Management Branch of the Department of Natural Resources and Energy Development. He talked about their new wildfire management strategy that they have rolling out, and he talked a lot about the New Brunswick Fire Smart program. And so this is a whole book on how you can, like Councillor Burpee said, reduce the risk of wildfire around your own home. And you can get these at www.firesmartcanada.ca. And I don't know if the fire chief has any taken around, do you?
We do have a few, yes.
So we have a few here, and you could probably also reach out to your MLA's office, and he may have someone be able to connect you with that as well. But I would encourage everybody to take a look at that. It's been a dry spring so far. We all need to be very cognizant of that risk. I spoke at the inaugural State of the Region address, which you've heard about from the other councillors, and I was proud to be able to talk about what we are proud of here in Grand Bay-Westfield, how we see the region moving forward together, and what our hopes are for the future. And not only that, but how we can partner with the business community to make it all happen. And there was one clear message that came out of the event for me, and that, and I think it was Mayor Reardon that actually said it. She said that growth is a shared responsibility, and that is very, very true. We can't just rely on municipal government or provincial government or the business community to make things happen. We all have to push it forward together. I had a great meeting with our MP, John Williamson, and our MLA, Bill Oliver. We talked about the Canadian Community Building Fund negotiations, the CCBF, the former gas tax, and how those are stalled and what that means for our town and other municipalities across the province and across the country. How to resource the infrastructure that we're going to need to manage the growth that is coming, climate change adaptation and mitigations needs here in the town, and the issue with the slow and expensive environmental impact assessments and how that impacts the developers that want to build here and provide housing for the people that need it. And of course, the topic I live and breathe these days, which is municipal fiscal reform. Then of course we had the Lone Water Farm announcement, which is, as you know, Councillor Burke said, just an absolutely wonderful announcement for our community, and Councillor Balcom said everybody around this table should be very proud for being a part of that announcement today. It's a really big deal. And thank you to everyone who played a part in making this a reality. The people that really helped move it forward, our MLA, Bill Oliver, Minister Mike Holland, who immediately saw the value of what we were trying to do. Former Health Minister Dorothy Shepherd, who was the one that was in office when the land was moving over from Horizon over to DTI. Council, of course, and our dedicated staff here at the town who worked really hard and hand in hand with the staff at DNRED and the Nature Conservancy, as well as the other partners involved in the project. So thank you very much to everybody for making that happen. It's a capstone moment and we should all be very proud. Last night I attended the Cadets Annual Graduation event, which was spectacular. I was honored to represent the town at the 3034 Grand Bay Blue Mountain Cadets Annual Graduation Night, which was held up at our local Legion here on Willistook. And congratulations to all the cadets who moved up into the program. Thank you to Major Allen, all the staff, and of course the wonderful volunteers who sat there and made the dinner and made everything happen alongside the staff, and make this program available for our youth in the community when otherwise it wouldn't be here. And the town was presented with a really beautiful certificate of appreciation for the support that we provided to them so far. And just a little plug for the program, it's free. Cadets is a free program. It's focused on leadership skills, and I was really inspired by the young leadership I saw in that room. So the program is obviously working. And it's a wonderful way to meet new people and learn new skills. And they're always accepting new members, so please check it out. If you haven't already, they're looking to grow. So that's my council report. And so we'll move on to item 15, business arising from committee of the whole. There being none, we'll move on to item 16, adjournment. And the motion is that the council of the town of Grand Bay-Westfield adjourn the meeting at 8:00 p.m. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Burpee. Do I have a second? Councillor McIntosh Lawrence. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you, council. Thank you, leadership team.